Dr. MJ Collier with our COVID-19 update. Dr. Collier, good morning.
Good morning, Rickey Smiley, and all the Rickey Smiley Morning Show listeners. And good morning to Brad and Eva. Happy Mother's Day. Belatedly so, but one day there. We're good. Listen, Rickey, there are things going on with the coronavirus that we need to bring to your listeners. Let's start off with the statistics, of course. In the United States now, we're at 1.36 million confirmed cases and 80,600 deaths. In the states where they have opened up and loosened up restrictions, the cases continue to go up. And let's look at Georgia, for example. Georgia had 1,352 additional cases in the last 24 hours.
Right
now, so a total of 31,600. So one of the things that is happening is, in addition to the people doing more things, they're going to the mall, they're shopping, they're going to the parks, etc. You had people traveling to Georgia because their states weren't open yet. And people say, well, how do they know how many people travel to Georgia? They're checking and counting cell phone pings that cross the state line. So with that number, almost 60,000 people visited, particularly Atlanta, that would not have visited or had not been visiting. And so now, the virus is just being spread around. Rickey, I'm 100% sure that within the next week, those numbers are really going to skyrocket. Now we're up to a predicted, from the University of Washington model, 3,000 deaths per day. And I know those numbers, when I say 1,000, that was impressive. 2,000 got people's attention. And 3,000, again, there's fatigue for those numbers. But, again, you're going to be touched by this. People your friends, your family members are going to be passing from the corona. And, I had two friends, two acquaintances, pass, one on Friday and one on yesterday. From the coronavirus. And, and I'm sure as a member of multiple social clubs and your fraternity, they're keeping account and they notify their members if someone passes across the country. So the numbers are real, and this is real. So, again, we want to emphasize the people. Now, the Argonne National Laboratories out of Chicago did a study on the effectiveness of masks. And fortunately enough, they were saying that the masks were very effective, and the things that we had talked about previously. The most effective fabrics are cotton, natural silk, and chiffon. Synthetic silk and satin were horrible because they maintain too much moisture. But again, you want to make sure that even when you're using cotton, that you're using a high thread count cotton. And again, we want to use something like a 600 thread count to give you the best protection. And some of the styles of masks that we're seeing now, they're coming above the chin. And and people with beards definitely need that coverage. And so we want to make sure that it's covering your nose, your nasal bridge, the sides of your face, and under your chin. And it's made of appropriate fabric. And remember, that is only 50% of your coverage when you have just wearing a mask. You got to cover your eyes as well.
All right, y'all. More Dr. MJ Collier coming up next. You don't want to miss. We got some more information for you. Rick Smiley Morning Show. We've been saying this for 2 months on this radio show, letting people know that you can catch coronavirus through the eyes. And the second question is, what's the difference between coronavirus and COVID-19?
Okay, great questions, Rickey. I've been receiving that inquiry on social media as well. The coronavirus is a list of multiple viruses. COVID-19 is one of them. COVID-19 is coronavirus disease 19. They only call it 19. It's not the 19th version. It just was discovered in December of 2019 and identified and labeled in December of 2019. As you know, we are now understanding that this disease was in the United States as early as June of 2019. It might and probably goes back to 2018, but that's why they call it coronavirus 19 or COVID-19 and coronavirus. Coronavirus is the broad group, and COVID-19 is just one of the coronaviruses, but everybody has had a coronavirus. The common cold virus is a coronavirus. So we just that's just a more specific designation as to which coronavirus you have. And that's what COVID-19 is. But the terms are basically interchangeable as far as the discussion that we're having is concerned. Okay, so one thing, Rickey, they are now identifying a disease that they're calling pediatric multi-system inflammatory disease. 85 cases have been identified, particularly in New York, but they found similar cases in the United Kingdom, Spain, and Italy. And this is all in children who have tested positive for the coronavirus or they're positive for the antibody. So it's linked to the coronavirus, but it's not specifically caused by the coronavirus. But you get fever that's high and lasts for multiple days, and symptoms similar to toxic shock syndrome, where you get inflammation in the walls of the blood vessels, and that includes blood vessels of the heart, and that can be deadly when that happens to children. So as we're seeing, children are not immune to this disease, and if they become infected, they need to be taken to the doctor and treated aggressively, because if they ultimately develop this pediatric multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome, you're going to have, a particularly poor outcome, and we don't want to see children starting to go down at the same rates as the adults.
All right, and real quick, Dr. Collier, tap on how important it is to wear those goggles, because people are catching it through their eyes.
They are catching through their eyes. It is very important. Remember, if you're only covering your nose and your mouth, that's 50% of the problem. It's easier to catch the infection through your eyes because your eyes are open in a direct contact. Every time you blink, tears go down your tear ducts directly into your sinuses. You could not ask for a better way to inoculate it. It would be almost like getting an injection of the virus. So it's very important to cover your eyes. And I've seen, mask wearing is about 50-50. I see some people doing it. I see people pulling the mask down under their chin. I don't know what the purpose of that is. Even when they're not having conversations, they're just walking around like that. So if you're going to wear the mask, cover your nose and mouth, and make sure that if the mask becomes moist from humidity, then it's no longer as effective. So you need to allow it to dry out and wear an alternative mask or switch them up. And a lot of these cotton masks now, people have had them for a couple of weeks. Wash them in your washer, put them in a delicate protecting bag, and let them air dry. Do not put them in the dryer. The dryer can break down the fabrics and the rubber bands that are holding them. So just wash them on a delicate cycle in your washer, and then let them air dry, and have several so that you can alternate them and rotate them out.
There it is. All right, Dr. MJ Collier, let everybody know real quick how you can be reached.
Okay, on all social media, ask Dr. MJ, and we're hoping that we don't have bad news to report. But, Ricky, I think we're going to.
Oh, I believe it. Man, because folks don't believe that fat meat is greasy. That's for sure.
All right, stay healthy, everybody. Stay home, stay safe. Don't be a part of this experiment. We're going to talk about tomorrow. There's an article written in Atlantic magazine, Georgia's experiment with human sacrifice. Georgia's experiment with human sacrifice. So we're going to talk about that.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Dr. Collier.